So, President Bobby. Bum, 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 bum. Now, this is gonna have rape, cannibalism, and sex orgies. So, sex orgy for President Bob. It's a pretty good title. I'm smart like that. Anyways, so Jasmine comes and they're like, well, we gotta take you to get raped by the elders. Like, they're gonna fuck you in the ass and inject you with God's power. And I'm like, no. And then they're like, and then I'm like, whoa, and I'm all high again. And this is what they do. They can't get what they want. They just get you high, and then they do it anyway. And they hypnotize you also. I haven't gotten into that. I'm going to do an entire video on that bullshit. Oh my god, is that some bullshit. Holy shit, dude. Anyways, so they collect my ass, and they drive me out there, and I get raped by the old dude. You got to do a bunch of dumbass oaths, and I'm not a member of the church. This is important because it comes up a whole lot. I'm an N-word. They think I'm an N-word, okay? So, I'm not a member of the church, but I'm also the president and leader. So I'm a non-member, president, and leader. And I make the argument to them every time their laws don't apply to me because I'm not a member of the church. And this comes up a lot. An example of this is I wanted to drink coffee, and they don't drink coffee at the church of the anal eating mummy. You're not allowed to. And I told them I'm not a fucking member. Give me my damn coffee. Like, this just kept happening again and again and again and again. Okay. And I told him I don't do religion because I was told by my uncle to stay away from religion. And I thought, like, because they told me if you're God, you're president, you can do whatever you want. That's a fucking lie. And we're about to learn how much of a fucking lie that is. So I go all the way up there. I get fucked in the ass by some old dudes. And then they bring me this woman. She's in Memphis. The Memphis are these telepathic women, allegedly. And they make me eat her brain. Yeah. So I can get her powers. I didn't want to eat this woman's brain, but she wanted me to eat her brain. These people are gross. Anyways, so they bring this other chick out, and you do this devil ceremony, because the true leader of the church is both the devil and God. That's why everything goes in both directions, and nothing makes any sense, because you're both. Just like Stu said, so it makes no fucking sense at all. So you have this dinner where they get you underneath Ganesh, LSD, PCP, and some other shit. You're just high out of your fucking mind. You're like, gone all the time. You are not yourself, okay? And they also poison you with heavy metals. More importantly is the presidential procedure where they give you the cure for cancer, because Stu, like, they gave me the file on Stu, and Stu stole all of my ideas, like, from high school all the way, like, this asshole has been watching me forever, and all he does is steal my ideas and use them for crackers, like, for white people, because apparently their superior psychology doesn't come with creative thought. So these idiots are not creative. They can't come up with solutions or anything, so they just steal them from black people and then kill them. And apparently that's why Stu was trying to kill me, was he kept poisoning me with lead. So, like, I'd come up with an idea, we'll say, like, Mythbusters. Yeah, you'd be surprised. Anyways, let's say I came up with Mythbusters. No, let's say I came up with a show called Psychological Movie Therapy, and two white people stole that from me. Okay, Psychological Movie Therapy. Not to be confused with that other thing. Anyways, Psychological Movie Therapy is stolen from me. They take that and they pay me by poisoning me with lead. And the goal is to make you stupid so you don't come up with better ideas than them, because they can't handle that because they're insecure. And the wise explained to me Stu would fucking dose me with lead my entire life to make me stupid, so that he could feel smart even though he's an imbecile. Okay? This is the problem. When you're stupid, you don't get smarter. You're stupid. Okay? But Stu figured out he could make other people smarter. And even at my stupidest, I was still smarter than him. At this point in this story, I should have been shitting fucking gold, like, jewelry out my ass made out of weird things. They explained to me, that fucker poisoned me with manganese, he poisoned me with lead, he poisoned me with cadmium, he poisoned me with all this shit. I had cancer. Okay, I had cancer. And they gave me the cure for cancer. They stole it straight from Cuba. That shit that causes cancer to recess. Yeah, they gave me that. They gave me gene therapy. They fixed a bunch of my problems. And all this shit. You know what they didn't give me? Chelation therapy to get the heavy metals out of my body. They refuse that because they think eating heavy metals is a good idea because they're dumbasses. So these dumb assholes fucking who forced me to be their leader, and I'm incredibly fucking stupid at the time because heavy metals make you violent and stupid. You can look it up. It's not me being an asshole. I was a violent, stupid god, and they wanted a violent, stupid god. And that's the kind of god they respect, is a violent, stupid god. That's what they wanted. Now, this is funny because the presidential procedure for being the devil and Jesus is straightforward. They get you high and you look like you're sitting down at a Thanksgiving dinner and then you're eating all this food like a glutton, like a pig, like the 7 deadly sins from Catholicism, evil, and then you have sex with a woman. But here's the problem, you're actually having sex with a corpse, but you don't know that because you're high on LSD. And I have both memories from this. I have the memory of having sex with the corpse and fucking having the big dinner. And there's like this book for cannibalism and how to cook that actually came from the Church of the Anal Eating Mummy. Okay, and I'm gonna say this: fucking white people definitely love cannibalism because the human body is salty as fuck. And it took me a good minute to get over this fact that I ate human bodies. It's fucking gross and weird, but it's what they do out there. They eat people's brains because they think it gives them psychic powers, and they cannibalize people. Yeah, the furthest thing from God you could possibly be, they do that. And you have sex with this woman's corpse. I don't fucking know, dude. I don't fucking know. Anyways, so, and then before that shit, you have to go through this ceremony where you become God, and it's pretty straightforward. You lay down on this slab, and they ask you a bunch of questions about what God you are, and because I'm Indian, they kept asking me if I was like Krishna or fucking that elephant fuck from Hinduism, all the Hindi gods, you know. And I keep telling them no, and then I tell them if you want to know if somebody's a god in a past life, you ask them their favorite color, and they're like, "What's your favorite color?" And I'm like, "Green." You may pass, obviously, Monty Python. And I keep making jokes, and they keep getting mad at me because they kill you, and then you go to this star out there in the sky, and the entire temple building you're in has a bunch of Freemason shit in it. I don't know what's up with that, but it also has a bunch of stolen Egyptian shit in it, and a typewriter for some fucking reason. Anyways, so they're asking me these questions, and eventually they arrive at Vajrapani. Yeah, he's a Buddhist god. He controls lightning, and they get that because I struck Stu with lightning at one point by accident. He was trying to murder my ass, and he got struck by lightning. Bullshit, Vajrapani has the power obscura, meaning he can see through bullshit, and he's invincible. That's it. That's it. That's his abilities. And he doesn't kill because he's a righteous god. And this is funny because these guys absolutely hate me for being righteous, and then they make me a righteous god. But they also chose Vajrapani because he's black. This comes up later. They are not okay with having a black god. Okay, they are not okay with having a black god. So, I keep refusing to do the things they want me to do, and it just ends like this. Drugs. And then I'm gone, and I'll do whatever you want because I'm fucking high out of my mind. I didn't want to do drugs. I don't do drugs. I stay away from drugs. These people do all the drugs. They love doing drugs, okay? They're lead brain addicts. That's all they are. It's not special. It's not unique. I became a lead brain addict because they poisoned me with fucking lead. And this is the thing. They explained to me, I looked through my entire life of Stu just continuously. Like, my cuddle buddy was a complete piece of shit. She poisoned me with heavy metals, okay? Fucking all my friends poisoned me with heavy metals this entire time because I'm smarter than them. And they're mad as fuck that they're dumb as shit. Mad as fuck that they're dumb as shit. Okay? Mad as fuck that they're dumb as shit. And why are they dumb as shit? They drink lead. It's not complicated. It's stupid. It's how retards think. Okay? Now, the ceremony goes over and you get to go meet white supremacist god, and you get up there and what I call it? Jose and Briggs is up there, okay? And Briggs, they tell me to say the magic word. They're like, to get in, you have to do a handshake. They give you a fucking handshake to do. They give you some bullshit name, and then they tell you to say, I think I said Klaktu Varada Nikto. I think that was it, or Klaktu Varada Kanda, some shit like that, something along those lines. You say that shit, and you get into, and they're supposed to give you the planet Earth, but they didn't give it to me. Because Briggs goes, we don't let N-words in here. N-words cannot be gods. We don't let N-words. And I tell the wives, they don't let N-words into white heaven. And their wives are like, oh. And I'm like, yeah, these guys are just screaming they don't let N-words. And I'm sitting there looking at like Mussolini and Hitler and all these other angry white supremacist guys that are just mad that they're white and life isn't easy anymore because they're entitled to everything. And the wives are like, no, I tell them, let me try something. And they're like, oh, what? I was like, I'm going to try my key. And they're like, you don't have a key. And I was like, I do have a key. I got this. And I do my little pose thing like that. And I do the power of purification. And then this black hand, like, I look over and there's a golden Buddha. And then his black hand just comes shooting forward out of the clouds. And I just hear, the invincible hand of Buddha does not yield. And then his hand just goes shooting straight for the gold gate, and all the white supremacists and this guy with like these flaming eyeballs. He's sitting in the middle. He just kind of sits like this. He doesn't say anything. He just no, he gets fucking wrecked. The fucking hand just crashes right through his ass. And all the white supremacists are like, oh no. And there's green lightning happening. And I'm like, bro, this is the craziest acid trip ever. And then he grabs it. The hand grabs Earth, and then all the Nazis that are on the other side of the Golden Gates, they form a human chain, and they start wrapping around the planet, and they're trying to hold the planet in place, and the black hand just, the invincible hand of Buddha does not yield. And then he just grabs the thing and pulls it out, and all the Nazis come with it. They're like a spider web of Nazis holding each other's legs, biting each other's dicks, and trying to like stop the planet from being pulled out. And then it gets pulled out, and then Vajrapani just dusts that thing off, and then he sits down in front of me with the planet, and I'm like, what's that? And the wives are like, that's the planet Earth, you own it. And I was, well, Vajrapani, you keep that shit safe, okay, brother? And he's like, the invincible hand. It's all he says. He's like a Pokemon. He just keeps saying the same shit. And then he turns and faces his back to me, and then the Nazis come running out of the gates, and that dude just has lightning just striking around him, green lightning, just. And the Nazis are like, oh, the apocalypse is now, the end has begun, the N-words have reached heaven. The vibe of going to white heaven is very much like going to Cracker Barrel and being black. A lot of you have never been black at a Cracker Barrel, but my brother and I do it all the time. We used to go into Cracker Barrel and say Aloha snack bar, and all the white people would do this. And they'd get all nervous and scared. That's exactly what happened when I was in white heaven. Everybody there was terrified that I was going to replace apple pie with fried chicken and watermelon. Like, they were terrified. So I tell the wives, these guys are fucking racist. They suck. And then the wives are like, well, Jasmine's like, we got to talk to you about that because a lot of the white people in the church are terrified of you, so we need you to be more white. And I'm like, no, we're not doing that. There's no pleasing white people. You can't do it, and there's nothing about trying to be white or imitating white. I was like, they're not going to be happy because their problems are made up in their own head. It's white grievance. It's in their head. They have completely fabricated a ridiculous story that they scream and run from, and they torture themselves psychologically over a problem that does not fucking exist. Okay? It doesn't exist. It's not real. It was never real to begin with, and it never will be real. Their problem is called white grievance, and I start explaining to the wives, and they're just staring at me, and they're like, stop. You're saying things. You say that to them, they're going to get mad. And then they explain to me inside the church there's right wing and a left wing. Just like normal politics, and it is just as stupid as normal politics. These people want everything both ways. They don't want to make it any sense. They start telling me that the whole reason everybody's scared and paranoid is these guys are planning a mass invasion and they're going to kill everybody in the U.S. and take over the U.S. and the white and splendid will reign supreme. And I was like, and then they're going to enslave everybody that's not dead. And I was just, you guys are fucking evil. We're not doing that. And then they tell me we have to do that. And they keep telling me I have to follow rules even though I'm a fucking god. And I'm a Buddhist god. I don't kill. This is important because they start telling me I have to murder people because to get up the church ladder, you have to murder people. And you have to human traffic. And I tell them we're not fucking human trafficking. We're not doing that. That's why the church got reported to begin with. We're not human trafficking. And then they tell me I gotta fuck the babies. And I was, what? And they, you have to anoint babies with your peen. And I was like, I'm not anointing fucking babies. I'll have sex with a watermelon. So they get me a fucking watermelon. So I start becoming President Fruit Fucker. And I start fucking watermelons. Yeah. So I had to eat a corpse. I got fucked in the ass. And I did all the drugs on the fucking planet. I've had to see multiple people kill themselves. Pretty traumatizing. These people love death. It's their favorite thing. They're gods. They're just gods of death. Like, there is no life. There is no returning people to life or any of that shit. I tell you what, I was so fucking gone. I'm gonna tell you this. I did a bunch of shit that I'm not gonna cover in this video because it's totally fucking illegal, but like, I did do this really funny thing where, because I was Vajrapani, I literally got high on Ganesh and then just sat down outside for like 3 or 4 days and did nothing because I was meditating. I mean, in that time, in my little hallucinogenic state, I was like talking to Bruce Lee and Siddhartha Gautama and these ancient monks from the White Lotus and all these other historical superpowered figures. And they were basically like, the leader of the white supremacist church is a fucking loser. And they were explaining that that guy never made it because he was never developmentally able to make it. He was a fucking loser. And so, like, I end up meeting Satan at one point because you get possessed by the devil himself. He's got, like, flaming eyes and horns. He looks like Pan. He looks like Lord Pan. He's got a giant cock with satyr legs. And all he wants to do is have sex. And that's exactly what you do as president. Anytime you... This is a fuck up on my end because when they threw my sex orgy, I didn't realize they were throwing a sex orgy because I just told them... Like, they asked me what women I liked, and I just ran down a list of every woman I ever liked, from my elementary school teachers all the way forward, and they went all through the land to get those women, and I told them I wanted to have sex with the fattest women. I had sex, I believe I had sex, allegedly, with Mary Bowberry, and I remember, I don't know if this is true, but the only thing I can say about that is... You'll never get it. And there was this other girl that kept squirting everywhere. She's one of those squirty chicks. It was just everywhere. It was like spider webs of cum. It was disturbing, but acceptable because it's sex. That's kind of how sex goes. Everything's missionary with these people, so it's all horrible. And it's really hard to get big women in the missionary position. I'm just going to throw that up there. Like, they look like little starfish with their legs in the air and shit. They look like Patrick Star every time. Except for the girl I think was Mary Bowberry. She had massive thighs and huge legs, and like when she was done, she dropped her legs on my shoulders, like perfectly, and I just grabbed her massive thighs like that, and I was like just in there. I think it was Mary. I had sex with this other girl that I think was equivalent to a giant marshmallow, but you got to remember I was high out of my mind while doing this. And then they're like, anybody you like, turn the page, you have to have sex with, and I was like, we need to be really careful about that, but remember, I have a cadmium brain, and I keep forgetting everything because the neurons in my head are almost zero from Stu and these assholes poisoning me with heavy metals my entire life because they're stupid. Yeah. Anyways, you have to do these trials. One of them, you have to be Jose. And you have this dildo with like an egg on it. It looks like an egg-shaped dildo. And then you have this other egg, and you just walk circles in the basement until you dig up this book that has golden leaves in it. And they're not golden leaves. They're pages. It's a book with gold pages in it and has this made-up spaghetti language. It's a fake bullshit made-up fucking language. And you just sit down and you translate that. That's what you do when you're Jose. You end up being this other asshole named Moni. I remember playing with a hat at one point. I don't know why I was playing with a fucking hat, but I was playing with a fucking hat, and I would like look into it and then tell people what I saw, and it was a fucking hat. Like a felt hat, white, I don't know. And then the typewriter belonged to some bitch named Marie Ogden. Now, I got to meet the actual anal-eating mummy, and I'm going to cover that in the next video. when I got to meet the anal-eating mummy, the actual anal-eating mummy, like and I tried to I wanted them to inject my ex-cuddle buddy with HGH and feed her a lot so that she got big enough to actually house the spirit of the anal-eating mummy so she could pass on. Oh, brother, it's crazy. It's crazy. It's religion. This is why you don't do religion, brothers.